Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc.
Guyana's opposition party calls on the president to name a date for general elections after government loses its first legal battle. Our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Friday, February 1st, 2009. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Dawn Paris. Good evening. The main opposition People's Progressive Party, PPP, on Friday called on President David Granger to name the date for fresh regional and general elections in Guyana. His call came a day after Acting Chief Justice Roxanne George Wiltshire ruled that the no-confidence motion passed against government on December 21st last year is valid. The government has indicated it intends to appeal the ruling and is willing to go as far as the Caribbean Court of Justice to fight its case. But at a press conference on Friday, Jagdeo said the government should stop delaying and get the Guyana Elections Commission, GECOM, in motion.
We expect this government to comply with the Chief Justice's ruling and immediately start the preparations for local government elections, for general elections. We expect the president to make an announcement that he respects the Constitution of Guyana, and not doing so would show gross disrespect for our Constitution. The President needs to speak now and name the date for elections and direct GECOM to start the preparations.
Jagdeo had earlier served notice of possible legal action to force GECOM to prepare for the polls. Under the Constitution, Guyana must hold fresh elections within 90 days of a motion of no confidence being passed in the National Assembly.
Procrastination in doing this can lead to a constitutional crisis, and it would mean the violation of our Constitution. And that is what we're experiencing with this government. So now we need to turn our attention to GECOM and force GECOM to act in accordance with the Constitution. And so over the next couple of days, even if it means legal action to force GECOM to start the preparations for elections, and they can do this all within the next 50 days, whole elections, because we believe the basis is there for that to happen, having successfully come out of a local government elections, then they can easily do this. But they're unwilling to do this because of the government sending signals to them that they should not do so. So we'll have to put pressure on the machinery at GECOM and the Commission to proceed immediately with the preparation for elections.
Jagdeo said the PPP was extremely pleased with the High Court ruling. He expressed the hope that now the judiciary has spoken, members of civil society and the international community will make more strident calls for the government to respect the Constitution. Meantime, the attorney who represents Jagdeo in the no-confidence matter says legislators with dual citizenship may face challenges in light of the Chief Justice's ruling. She had said that Charandas Prasad, the then government backbencher who voted with the opposition in the no-confidence motion, was not qualified to be nominated or elected as a member of the National Assembly because he holds both Guyana and Canadian citizenship. She said that under the Guyana Constitution, anyone who holds dual citizenship should not and could not be a member of Parliament. Attorney at law Anil Nandlal told Demerara Waves Online that all legislators would have to be replaced before the National Assembly meets again to extend the deadline by which general elections are due, which is possible and is provided for under the Constitution. The former Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs also said that as far as candidates for future general elections are concerned, efforts would have to be made to ensure that dual citizens are not nominated. Venezuela's self-proclaimed interim president Juan Guaido on Thursday laid out a plan to reverse President Nicolas Maduro's economic policies. The 35-year-old opposition leader, who is recognized by the United States and several other countries as Venezuela's rightful leader, told supporters that a new government could quickly stabilize the economy. The national plan focuses on the opposition's vision for the economy and oil resources, but it also tackles public services, security, governability, and society. Guaido said there would be something for everyone in society to do as Venezuela moved forward, and that includes the military. He said the armed forces also have a role to play in the reconstruction of the country. And while President Maduro says he's willing to engage in talks with the opposition to resolve the political crisis, Guaido indicated Thursday that there would be no dialogue with Maduro or anyone in his government. He said organized, systematic, and sustained protests will continue until, quote, the dictatorship falls, end quote. In fact, he called for citizens to stage the biggest march in the history of Venezuela to further pressure Maduro to call early elections. The Trinidad and Tobago government on Friday said it has sought the assistance of the international police organization Interpol in the alleged kidnapping of 6 nationals in Venezuela. In a statement, the Ministry of National Security said the situation has its attention, but because it is an ongoing one and at a very sensitive stage now, details and specific information surrounding the circumstances of the matter cannot be provided at this time. Media reports said that at least one of the fishermen detained last Sunday had been released after part of the $200,000 ransom had been paid. The kidnappers have given the relatives until Friday to pay the full ransom or face the prospect of the men having their hands chopped off. The Ministry of National Security said the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service is managing the investigation and has communicated with Interpol and made requests for assistance through diplomatic channels. Citizens of Antigua and Barbuda will soon be alerted when a convicted sex offender moves to their neighborhood. Attorney General and Public Safety Minister Stedroy Benjamin made the disclosure to Parliament and said the new policy will be implemented within 3 months. He said legislation will be enacted for a sexual offenders registry.
We're going to make certain also that we shall notify the neighborhoods into which you're going to reside. That mothers, the community, they must know that this person is a sexual predator and special care must be taken.
Over in Barbados, an 18-year-old accused of killing his mother, a University of the West Indies lecturer, and a 68-year-old man is to reappear in court on February 28th. Romario Antonio Roach appeared in court charged with murdering his 38-year-old mother, Joanne Roach, whose partially decomposed body was discovered in a watercourse in the northern parish of St. Lucie on January 21st. He's also charged with the murder of 68-year-old American-born educator Dr. Sarah Sutrina, whose mutilated body was discovered the following day not too far away. Police are also alleging that Roach murdered Tyrone Austin, also aged 68. His body was discovered in a bushy area in the parish of St. James on December 18th last year. The accused was remanded until February 28th to prison. Prior to that, he will appear in another court on February 6th. Coming up in Caribbean Newsline, concern among residents as the state of emergency in Jamaica expires. Stay with us.
Barbados, renowned for its pristine beachfront and fantastic weather, continues to leave quite an impression on newcomers to the island and returning visitors. The Caribbean island, quite popular as a vacation hotspot, is not only beautiful due to its natural aesthetics. The island of Barbados continues to grow in popularity because of unique connections developed with our people, our culture. We can't wait to welcome you.
We continue in Jamaica, where the state of emergency in the parish of St. James has been lifted, but some residents and businesses are fearful of what life will be like without the strong presence of security forces. We get more in this TVJ News report.
Docks at the pier in the city of Montego Bay and in the town, vendors are out in their numbers. Citizens have been conditioning their minds for life after the state of emergency, although some held on to hope that lawmakers would keep the security measure in place for a little longer.
Maybe if this never in from then time that daddy, maybe enough for our loved one there, they are same way. They don't.
During the period of the state of emergency, which was declared on January 18, 2018, murders reduced by over 70%. 100 persons were killed compared to 335 being murdered in 2017. That year, St. James was recorded as the parish with the most murders. Tourism Central was now the Wild Wild West. So when the police swept down on the area, communities like Norwood, Glendavon, and Salt Spring were among the targeted crime hotspots. In the town center, the police presence remains, but the residents say there's a growing level of fear among business owners as the state of public emergency comes to an end. We put that issue to President of the Montego Bay Chamber of Commerce, Winston Lawson.
I've heard the reports. There is concern, particularly as these robberies and shootings are actually now within the city, within public spaces. So it does bring back memories that we certainly don't want to have.
Despite those concerns, the mayor of Montego Bay, Homer Davis, believes the police are making strides.
My experience tells me that from time to time, you'll have a group that emerges to focus on a particular type of crime. And this is where I must commend the police by catching 4 of the suspects whose picture were on cameras.
So there's no question the state of emergency in St. James brought lawlessness under control. The issue for many is the timeliness of its ending.
The Bahamian government has recorded a $1.1 million increase in revenue collection for the last 6 months of 2018. The figures are contained in a just-released report, which also revealed that government has lowered its spending. We get more from ZNS Network News.
The government is reporting that revenue collections at $1.1 billion represents an estimated gain of $129.5 million or 14.7% over the same period last year. According to the report, the improvement was largely associated with higher receipts of value-added tax and stamp taxes on financial and realty transactions. But the full impact of the VAT revenue increase to 12%, the report states, will not be recorded until the second half of the year, which is typically a stronger revenue period with its year-end fees. Meantime, expenditures increased by nearly $50 million, 4.4% compared to the $1.18 billion of the previous period. On the flip side, capital spending was lower at $86.9 million from $131 million in the comparable period. On the equity side, developments continue to be dominated by the government's investment in the special purpose vehicle Lucayan Renewal Holdings Limited, formed to acquire the R. Lucaya properties in Grand Bahama during the first quarter of the fiscal year. Tax receipts grew by $117.1 million to $902 million. That's up 37.1%, with non-tax revenue recording a smaller gain of $12.4 million to $108.3 million.
Dominica says it has held successful negotiations with the World Bank on financial assistance for the development of its geothermal sector. Coordinator of the island's geothermal energy development project, Ambassador Vince Henderson, said on state-owned DBS Radio that he was pleased with the outcome of negotiations with the World Bank delegation on Thursday. He said a significant amount of the financial assistance will be in the form of grant financing.
What we essentially were negotiating with the World Bank is, one, the 10 million grant from the UK DFID, which is being administered by the World Bank. So that's a grant. We don't have to pay it back. It's free money. $2 million from SIDSDOC, which is funds that I, as chairman of SIDSDOC, was able to mobilize for Dominica. And that's US dollars, by the way, I'm talking about. So that also formed part of the package. $17.2 million from the World Bank financing itself at 0.75% with a 10-year moratorium grace period and 15-year repayment. I mean, you can't get better than that. And also a contingent grant. Contingent meaning if you use it, the money is there for you if you need to use it. We negotiated about $10 million from the Clean Technology Fund, which is also being administered by the World Bank. So effectively, we're looking at a package of about $51 million, $51.45 million going into Dominica geothermal energy development.
Buju Banton's son to join him on stage next month, a Calypsonian suspended from his job, and we'll have tips for the perfect carnival makeup, all in this week's Newsline Entertainment.
Buju Banton will share the stage with his son Jazeel on March 16 on his long-anticipated Long Walk to Freedom concert. Jazeel will join other artists, including Chronix, Coco T, and Itana, in the lineup. He told the Gleaner newspaper he cannot wait to share the stage with his father. Over in Trinidad, veteran Calypsonian Crow was suspended from his job this week as a regional coordinator of CPEP, an agency of the Ministry of Rural Development and Local Government. It happened after a video which appeared to show him hurling a string of profanities at a fellow motorist during a heated argument while driving a company vehicle. CPEP has distanced itself from the incident, saying it does not represent the company's values. Meanwhile, Crow, whose name is Weston Rollins, remains defiant, and he said the man had used a racial slur at him before the recording began. He also said he's writing a song about the incident. And to all the pan lovers, judging in the preliminary round of the National Panorama Competition begins on Tuesday in the South Central region. Judges will observe the first group of 10 steel bands in the small, medium, and large conventional bands. The remaining 6 in that region will go before the judges the following day. 100 bands from the North, East, South Central, and Tobago will compete in 3 categories over 8 days. When you think of Carnival, you think fetes, calypsos, and costumes. Another important factor for an enjoyable carnival is makeup. Makeup artists Melissa Gloden shares some tips this week, and they should be especially helpful for new revelers.
Carnival time is a time when we have so much bright color, and some of the major tips that we have to follow is one, choosing the right products. You want to make sure and get waterproof makeup because you're out there in that hot sun. You don't want to have anything slipping and sliding during the course of the day, so you want to make sure and get waterproof makeup. You want to make sure and set your makeup properly. Investing in a very good setting spray is a very, very, very good tip. Making sure you get long-lasting lipsticks so that when you put it on in the morning, you know you don't have to walk with anything to go looking for touching up. It lasts whole day.
Marie-Claire Williams, Newsline Entertainment.
Ahead in Newsline Sport, West Indies end day 2 of the second test against England with a small lead. We'll be right back.
Follow your heart to St. Kitts and make plans to join us at the 23rd Annual St. Kitts Music Festival. 5 days of world-class entertainment from Wednesday, June 26th to Sunday, June 30th, 2019. See Butcher Banton live as he makes his epic return to St. Kitts. Also, French Montana and Davido. Popcorn and the legendary Smokey Robinson. This is just the first wave of announcements. Many more acts to come. For more information, log on to StKittsMusicFestival.com. The St. Kitts Music Festival, an experience like no other.
Oh, which one? This looks good. But really, aren't these cute? No, I don't like that at all. Come on. No, I can't afford to mess this up. I don't have time. Okay, let's do that again. Like, what was that? Anything in my teeth?
Good economic news kept rolling in the past several days as the U.S. economy created 312,000 jobs in December, or more than double any economist's estimates. While the mainstream media has been predicting doom and gloom to the economy as a fourth quarter stock market correction took place, the fact remained that the Dow Jones Industrial Average was up more than 1,000 points in the first couple of trading days since the jobs announcement. The facts didn't cloud the reporting by news outlets like CNN, which credited the stock market boom.
Cricket tops our weekend sports segment. Captain Jason Holder and veteran batsman Darren Bravo will hope to give West Indies a comfortable lead on day 3 of the second test against England at the Sir Viv Richards Stadium in Antigua on Saturday. England was bowled out for 189 on Thursday, and the Caribbean side closed Friday's play on 272 for 6 following a batting collapse in the second session when seamer Stuart Broad and off-spinner Moeen Ali both struck twice to lead England's fight back. At the interval, West Indies were 212 for 5, with Shane Dowrich unbeaten on 19 and left-hander Bravo on an attritional 18. Hoping to build on their lunchtime position of 126 for 1, the Windies were set back in the third over following the resumption when Craig Brathwaite was caught at short leg off Moeen after adding a single run to his interval 48.
Highlights the session. Started nicely with our partnership with Craig Brathwaite and Shea Hope before Brathwaite departed. Caught by the substitute fielder, Peter Jennings. Moeen Ali getting his first wicket. Shea Hope continued playing in his elegant fashion. Made a couple lovely pull shots. Got himself a couple boundaries before this happened. Nicked one standing beside the ball. It was Stuart Broad finally getting a wicket. A couple lucky streaks for the Windies before this happened. One that kept low. Roston Chase had no answer. Bravo was very watchful. Only 2 boundaries in his innings. That was 1. And the second. Hetmeyer got a chance yet again early in his innings. Rory Burns couldn't quite hold on. Immediately after, got a boundary. And that was a long hop put away. And sailing over the fence. And attempting possibly another. Good running catch, Jimmy Anderson. Showing how it's done in terms of catching for England. That brought the informed Dorridge to the crease. Both himself and Darren Bravo weathered the storm. And some useful boundaries during the course of the session.
But Holder and Bravo steadied the batting slide as they went down to the close of the day's play, with the captain remaining not out on 19 and Bravo unbeaten on 33. Let's take a look at the final session of the day's play.
It's been a day for the bowlers, that is for certain. England sloppy in the field. Lots of drop chances, lots of half chances. Given out on the field, reviewed, and then shown to be going over the stumps. Bounce again from a fairly full length. Decision was overturned, and the very next delivery, another one was just bouncing over. Norwich played well, continued his good form from Barbados. Front foot and back, he looked very organised. Until he got one that he just could do nothing about. Had his name on it, flicked the glove. No mistake on that occasion from Butler. England reviewed that, but it was hitting him way outside leg stump and went away for 4 leg byes. Jason Holder, the man of the moment, with a double 100 unbeaten. He's unbeaten here as well.
And that's the sport. We'll be right back.
If God be for me, who can be against me? If God is...
I want you to already see yourself out of the storm. The clouds will move. It's time for things and traffic grab it you. Give away your last all when you know have it yet. I saw your heart still always. So when I innocent life pass the one them.
Follow your heart to St. Kitts and make plans to join us at the 23rd Annual St. Kitts Music Festival. 5 days of world-class entertainment from Wednesday, June 26th to Sunday, June 30th, 2019. See Butcher Banton live as he makes his epic return to St. Kitts. Also, French Montana and Davido. Popcorn and the legendary Smokey Robinson. This is just the first wave of announcements. Many more acts to come. For more information, log on to StKittsMusicFestival.com. The St. Kitts Music Festival, an experience like no other.
Again, the major developments of this day. Guyana's opposition party calls on the president to name a date for general elections after government loses its first legal battle in its no-confidence vote challenge. And in sport, West Indies end day 2 of the second test against England with a lead of 85. And that's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sport around the clock, subscribe to CanadaNews.com, and for more of our programming, log on to CaribVision.tv and check out our YouTube channel. We'll be back here again on Monday, but from all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching and have yourselves a good night and a safe weekend.